Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the 30th of August. Summer's almost done. A new year is almost upon us, but at least the summer is almost over. I had to come on today because I need to speak. We had some tragic news that one of our COI members / warrior, because everybody know in Grand Bahama, the men, we have a very strong contingency of COI men leaders in Grand Bahama. That's my actual constituency where I live. And I live in the constituency where Mr Lynxs Jones presides. And, I need to say something because when I got the call this morning, literally I was in shock. I was in shock to know that Mr. Lynxs has died tragically in a car accident in the islands of Grand Bahama. So I wanted to make a tribute to him, and I want to send my condolences on behalf of my organization, both organizations actually, because my organization is called the Bahamas for Bahamians and Legal Residents, and I am a COI supporter, fighter, warrior, council member, you name it, whatever it takes, camera woman, sending and spreading the message. But today I came on to speak on my condolences to Mr. Jones. And just to remind everybody that we must stand together. We must not allow this moment, even though as tragic as it is, it's either going to make us or break us. So we're going to stand strong to support Mr. Jones because he was a warrior out of Grand Bahama for the COI. And again, we have a strong contingent of Bahamian men who supports the COI in Grand Bahama, and he was one of those strong personalities who fought, who shared prevalent information to and about any of the government when they're doing wrong. So my condolences goes out to Mr. Jones and his wife and his kids and his extended family on behalf of the Bahamas for Bahamians, legal residents, and also the Coalition of Independence, who he stood and still will continue to stand steadily. But it's still a shock. So I decided to come on and talk about Mr. Lynxs Jones. And I've spoken to Mr. Jones on many occasions. And, he was always, 24/7. 24/7, he was always talking about the fight for his country and talking about the corruption and talking about the issues in Grand Bahama and how the issues have grown in Grand Bahama and how he was exposing so much information. And we all were doing and still continue to do our part. But, Mr. Jones came from a different angle. And, he lay it out. When he make up his Facebook information, it was really different. And he exposed so much, but he did it in a different way. I come with a lot of information. Mr. Jones says, cut to the chase, get to the point, put all that information together and just put it out there. And his information is still floating out there. I think we all should go and seek and look on his page to also continue to share his information, all right? So I went on his page and I said, let me put my condolences also on his page, which many of us need to do. Put your condolences on his page. I'm sure many of the Grand Bahamians are going to support the family in this time of bereavement. And also share his information that he shared on Facebook. Let's get that information out. All right. Now I look at Mr. Lynxs Jones' last post concerning his concern, which was posted about 3-4 days ago, August 26, 2025. What was his concern? As he wrote and collaborated with, I think his name is R. Chuck Pinder, sound like a cousin of mine, a concerned Bahamian who is a fisherman. Who was a fisherman. Now we all know we have a poaching situation in the Bahamas. This isn't the first time that this information has been put out in the public. Even the government know about it. It was so happened 2 days ago, I actually just turned the TV on and I was watching something on TV with regard to fishing. And it was a program out of Florida where, you know, there's a lot of fishing lodges in Florida. I mean, it's a big hub. It's a huge hub. I watched it because I was so proud to see the Berry Islands. I was so proud to see Freeport, Grand Bahama, West End. And, you know, I continued to watch it for a couple of days until right up to this morning when I got the call about Mr. Jones and his fatal passing. And I was just so proud to see how the Floridians are promoting fishing, and they're showing all of their boats and the tackle and bait, huge stores, and they're showing every new method of fishing and how they have this like monitor, and they can monitor actual schools of fish under the water, and they go like, wow, this is so amazing. And so I passed that information on to some of the fishermen on the Bahamas. I say, see, this is where we could be. We could be here. But for some reason, we're not there because we don't have persons really supporting the fishing industry. And I think Mr. Baines spoke to this sometime in the by-election last May. And, you know, as he spoke, because the by-election was in West End, and he spoke about how far behind we are as a fishing hub, because we all know West End is a fishing hub. And, you know, and he spoke about this a year ago, and here comes a year later, because I look at the date on the YouTube information displaying our country, the United States, about the fishing industry. And actually, the documentary was made in West End. Isn't that amazing? And I was just watching this 2 days ago, feeling good about the Bahamas, and oh, this is so nice. And boy, I wish our fishing industry could reach the heights of those in Florida. And it'd be so great that we'll have this whole industry. Mr. Baines spoke about it when he did the by-election also, how we missing the mark. And you know, we just got these little trinkles and bits talking about the fishing industry that don't even exist. And here we comes the Americans, which rightly so, they have lodges, and we don't have those lodges as they do. And they basically, and then this news came with Mr. Jones' death. We are so far behind. But, you know, I went on Mr. Jones' Facebook page, like I said, and I said, you know something, let me do a tribute to him. And this is my way of doing a tribute, because I like to do things different, okay? Instead of, I just ain't going to sit there. I'm not going to sit back and cry. No, I'm not going to do that, okay? And in his Facebook page, he continued to bullet point that the PLP, and this is something I'm strong with, this is an issue I feel very strongly about. The PLP is selling Bahamian passports, all right? Now, you all may not remember this, but it was in Grand Bahama that I was told, when I was camping under a different party during the COVID time, so that's years ago, right? That our passports were flown direct to Haiti, okay? Or direct to wherever they need to go to be sold. I was told that in a conversation campaigning for another political party. And here comes Mr. Jones, years later. He's talking about the same problem that the PLP, and this is, he specifically said in his writing on Facebook, it's the PLP who are selling the Bahamian passports. It's there. The PLP, he said. Now, at the time the information was given to me, it just said high officials in government. But Mr. Jones specifically named the PLP government. Mr. Lynxs' story started like this. After returning home, now he's talking through a fisherman perspective, okay? After returning home from being out to sea for 3 weeks, and you know in West End, that's a normal story, where fishermen goes and they sometimes be out there for weeks. He said, I was so disappointed in the lack of integrity shown by this government. Now remember, he wrote this August 26. So this isn't something way down. This is something right now in this month before it's over. Mr. Jones continued to say that I am so disappointed in the lack of integrity shown by the government. The amount of Dominicans that have once again been brought back into our commercial fishing industry is a blunt act of disrespect for the hard-working Bahamian commercial fishermen of the Bahamas. It's his exact words in his post on Facebook. The commercial fishing is reserved for Bahamians only. Now, there are other industry in the Bahamas preserved for Bahamians only. Mr. Bain had alluded to this during one of his many town meetings. And I think landscaping was one of them. I can't remember the rest. He spoke to this. All right? Then he continued to say that he continued to blame the government for lying to the Bahamians. Now, let me just stick a pin in here. Several years ago, my organization had a protest, and we went to I flew in from Grand Bahama, and I went in front of the House of Assembly with, this is under Menace. Manus was his name. He was a young gentleman whose father is Greek, I guess. And he was very concerned about the poaching of the Dominicans. Now, this is several years ago. We're in the front of the House of Assembly, and I'm going to tell you who all were there. This is important because what Mr. Lynxs Jones said just a couple of days ago, I said a couple of years ago under the Menace administration. We came to the front of the House of Assembly, myself, along with this maleless young man who was concerned about the poaching way back there. This is when Menace, I think Jeff Lloyd stood as the acting prime minister that day because Menace went off to some other country and we were protesting in front of the House of Assembly. The speakers I had gathered were Paul Moss and a Cooper, a young man, and they spoke against the WTO that Menace tried to bring on us, right? And then we had Mr. Wendell Williams. He spoke on morality, especially to those in the House of Assembly. And then we have myself and Mr. Jeff Sands. We spoke against the illegal migration issue. All right? So Mr. Jones spoke to this on the 26th of August, the poaching. His story is about the poaching. I'm only going to read a small segment of it. I spoke to it maybe 15 years ago in front of the House of Assembly, and I used a young man. It was his platform to speak against Dominican poaching in our waters. So, as far as I'm concerned, Mr. Jones was on point when he pointed out that the fishing industry should be reserved for Bahamians, and he had a problem with it in 2025. I spoke about it 15 years ago, that the young man who spoke the advocacy at the time, because I brought in new people to speak on these issues, he felt the same way. So we can say that Mr. Jones was spot on. All he did was just reinforce the information about preserving the fishing industry for its people. And he pointed out that the PLP government isn't doing that. As a matter of fact, they brought Dominicans back. So we can see it's a problem. So again, it's an FNM and PLP problem. And this is how Mr. Jones operates. He called it like he saw it. He wrote it on Facebook so you could know he's saying it. And you don't have no absentee wondering if he may say it halfway. He said it straight up. And I like that about the Bahamian men in Grand Bahama who supported the COI. All right, so let me just continue with Mr. Jones and all the stuff that he basically spoke to. Let me continue finding the dates. That was on the 26th. Mr. Jones on Facebook was telling the PLP point blank about how they lie to the Bahamian people. All right, giving them, well, we can say it, I could say it, our undeveloped industry, because we all know the fishing industry is undeveloped. But he's also speaking to these let's just say the foreigners who are speaking against, who obtain. He was speaking against foreigners who were obtaining our Bahamian passport to get a job in the fishing industry in the Bahamas. Like the same way they're giving them our passports for years to come into our country. He pointed it out, and I want everybody to go back and read it. All right? Read what he said. We have the same problems over and over under the FNM government, under Minnis, yes, and probably before Minnis, under Hubert. We have the same problem with the Dominicans fishing in our waters that preserve for Bahamians under Davis. But it's Davis who is fast tracking it. Because like Mr. Jones said, it's the PLP party now that's giving out passports, but giving it out to Dominicans so they could work in industries that's preserved for Bahamians. And I want that to resonate because that's an issue. And he said in his writings on Facebook how the same issue that I spoke about, that probably many, many people spoke about, has fallen on deaf ears in the Bahamas. Even deafer under this PLP government. He also mentioned in his story that he outlined on Facebook how 13 persons on the last, let me call it dinghies. Dinghies are small boats, okay? Just for those people who don't know what I'm talking about. With a Dominican diver. So they use the expertise of a Dominican diver. He was aboard this boat that was given a Bahamian name. Y'all let that sink in. This is the type of treasonous act that Mr. Lynxs Jones wrote openly because he speak and collaborate with the concerned fisherman, Mr. Pindo. He also further said that they had Dominicans. This is a different nationality fixing boats in Coral Harbor. Coral Harbor, we all know, is where our defense force is located. He pointed that out. All right? These actions can constitute as betrayal to a nation where the foreigners destroying the nation of a healthy fishing industry, and eventually we would be endangered by losing out this master stewardship council. That's a certificate that, everybody, it is a certification certificate that you need to have to be a part of a more, larger portfolio of stewardship. that we'll be losing out the Master Stewardship Council certificate, and the world would look at the Bahamas as an unsustainable, very unsustainable, because that's where we're heading. And Mr. Lynxs Jones, was about sustaining our industry so we can make sure that that industry was deserved for not just the future. Let me get it right. Not just the future, but the present, because in this present we have young people. All right? Then we have the younger generation that isn't in this industry. He was speaking out, sounding the alarm to protect the fishery industry for future Bahamians and present Bahamians. And the reason I believe Mr. Jones was so passionate, because, he's from 8 Mile Rock. 8 Mile Rock is closely linked with West End Grand Bahama, where it's a beautiful paradise to be living in. It's underdeveloped, but still beautiful to be living in. He was speaking out because he knows the culture of the Dominicans, how they fish their waters, and not to preserve. It's basically the way they fish their waters, the Dominicans, it destroys, it doesn't preserve. And he was speaking out from that perspective. His last post was dated on the 26th of August. He posted 3 days ago. A citizen of Grand Bahama West End, fighting for the protection of the fishing industry, which haven't even reached a tint, if that's a word, infraction, where the industry should be going. He and Mr. Chuck Pinder, a concerned citizen, got together, put that post together, and spoke out against the government for lying to the Bahamians. They brought Dominicans back to the waters to fish in an industry that we need to protect and to preserve. So I want to say this on behalf of the fighters and my organization, the Bahamas for Bahamians and Legal Residents, and the COI. We want to wish a sincere condolences to Mr. Lynxs Jones of West End Grand Bahama. May he rest in peace, and may God protect and guide his family through this trying time. But I will be coming back every day, if I have to speak up against this government. Every day.